Hello, good evening. Welcome to Mind Your Character with Dr. Olusola-Obasa. Thank God it's Friday. How has your week been? What's the highlights? What's happening? Like they say, Wagwan. Is it Wagwan or whatever? So welcome. It's the time for that value adding show, Mind Your Character with Bosede Olusola-Obasa. And I'm always very excited to be on the show every Friday. Today I'm hosting the show slightly earlier, like 1 hour before time. That's the option to not being able to host it at all. So that's what we're having today, and we're just going to go right ahead into what I've got. Don't forget that I've been talking about the National Character Parenting Summit for some weeks now. I've been talking about the National Character Parenting Summit, an event that is hosted annually by First Royal Character and Values Limited. That's like partnering with me to host it. And I count myself privileged to have been able to do this for already 10th year. Come August is going to be the 10th year, and that's super massive. We're very grateful for the privilege of life and the opportunity. So today I'm going to be continuing whetting your appetite towards the National Character Parenting Summit. The entire month of May has been devoted to talking about children, talking about youngsters, talking about parents, and then we're looking at a particularly interesting aspect of this entire connection, and that's role modeling. Role modeling is very huge in the society that we found ourselves today. So we cannot afford not to talk about it. And then for 2 weeks plus, I have been sharing from different angles. I've talked about what it is. We have looked at some synonyms some words that tell us a bit more or help us get up and closer with the word role model. We have also, in the line of this, talked about who a role model is. We have looked at the place of a parent in role modeling for the child, or being role model for the child. I've been able to establish the fact that it's a privilege to be the person who could first, the word is could, whether I eventually did is something else entirely, but the first person who could influence role model for a child. As parents, I've said that there is no privilege that beats that. There's no privilege that beats that. And so it should be a thing of gratitude that you are able to be that person to first influence your child, whether, like I said, it's in leadership. So the other week we looked at the different phases or areas where role modeling could have taken place without you even knowing. Okay, so, and we looked at leadership, we looked at driving, many of the things we do every day, and we think we're just living our own lives. As parents, we think we're just living our own lives. As educators in the classrooms, we think we're just living our own lives. As influencers over different spheres of the society, maybe you're a politician and you're influenced by being a politician, or you're a business guru or mogul, or you are a top echelon placed professional or career person, or you are a youth leader. Whatever roles you play, whatever leadership opportunities and advantages you have, you would imagine sometimes that you're just living your own life, not knowing that the truth remains that people are following the roles that you're modeling. So I went ahead to tell us about the fact that role modeling takes place whether we are conscious about it or not. So, and today we're going to do a bit more about ways you could have been role modeling without knowing. Like you've been teaching things first, role modeling them without even knowing. That will make me do two things quickly and then I'll go into those ways. When the 15th of May was approaching, one of our content creator or content creation team member notified us about what we had on the social media calendar and said that 15th of May was going to be International Day of the Family. And we're like, oh, of families. And I'm like, oh, that's good. Let's see how we can weave what we've been talking about into it. And we tried to look at what the theme for the year was. The theme was talking about climate change and the environment. So we said, okay, so even in line with this role modeling thing that we're talking about, are there ways that parents, educators, elders, advanced people have gone ahead? Is there a way they have role modeled things for us that we think have not helped the environment or the climate? And we came up with a number of things, from the fact that people have been role modeling open defecation for donkey years. From the days when there were no toilets, like proper toilets, because technology or innovation had not been able to birth those ideas, to the days when there are toilets and you still have open defecation taking place hugely across a lot of areas in the society. I can talk about Nigeria. There are statistics around open defecation that are easy to come by online. And there are even pressure groups that are now doing big work around curbing open defecation. Imagine in a 21st century where you and I have found ourselves, and open defecation is still a big issue here in Nigeria. How has it been able to have life for so long? How has it been able to perpetuate itself for so long? It's because some people who are presumed to be role models still take to the pattern of defecating openly. So when the young person sees it, something says to them that this is okay to do. So when they think that they are pressed, or some people are not even pressed, they just feel that, look, one of the opportunities or choices I have is to defecate openly. So in the heart of Lagos, a metropolis like Lagos, you could be going, just taking a walk, and let it not surprise you, you would see those big things done in the open. And you're wondering, what is this? There is one that is closely related to it, and that is peeing in the public. Peeing in the public, in the open, let's say in the open. Peeing in the open is another environmentally degrading, if you ask me, act that has been role modeled over the years. So these things are still a pattern. They are a way people get to do things. And I've heard men who say that, oh, thank God, men have the liberty of doing it just about anywhere because they don't have to go pants down to get it done, like women will do, particularly if you're wearing certain kind of clothes. But the truth is it about the convenience or the comfort of the cloth or the act, or about the appropriateness or rightness of it? And then the impact is going to have on the society. So you find out that in home corners, in building corners here and there are this stenchy smell that oozes from all of those places, because some people have made it a point of duty to do their stuff there on a regular basis, and so it begins to degenerate and deteriorate that space in terms of even how do you call it, air pollution. So there's so much to take note of when it has to do with role modeling. You see, I just shared it from the path of the environment, in line with us celebrating or marking the International Day of Families, which was May 15th. It's actually my first time of knowing that there's a day like that. So kudos to the young man on our team, Jeremiah, who gave us heads up on the fact that, look, there's a day like this. I think it's one of those days we should celebrate in a bigger way as a people, because family is major. I have never joined people to say family is everything. If I'm ever going to use it, I'm going to say family is everything after God, because God is actually everything and is first of all, and everything comes from and through Him. So, back into what we've been talking about. This month of May, we're celebrating the children as an organization. Come May 27th, they'll be on public holiday. People will give one speech or the other, they'll do one presentation or the other. And after that day, what more? Could we begin to become more intentional? Like I can see a comment by Otunubi on YouTube saying that you need to be, you can be role modeling unconsciously or consciously. It is true. It is very true. But can we, in the spirit of loving children and caring about them, begin to be intentional about role modeling? Some people think that role modeling just happens. You can decide to be a role model around a particular thing and hold yourself responsible to that aspect. You can choose to be a reading role model. And so you don't only read, you ensure that people see you reading and people hear you talk about the benefits that reading gives you. And there's so many other things that you can do that can help people begin to say, oh, so reading is this important. And then let me take a step or two towards that direction. But in the same way, there are so many things you could be doing that could be off. When we talk about role modeling and what we could be teaching without knowing, it's about everything. The leadership style that you have, whether you mention the name of it or not, can be described. I'm just coming from a seminar before I got into the office to do this. And there was a Q&A session where people were talking about their leaders, how that some were autocratic, how that some would shut down on everything and then give a fiat on how things will go, caring nothing about what anybody thinks. That person does not have to teach it. The fact that you do it, you are role modeling it. It will form the way they will remember you. So I see role modeling, particularly when you do it well. I would advise you to do it well. It's one of the legacies you can leave for younger people or the next generation. Good role modeling is one of the good legacies you can leave for the generation after you. Good role modeling is one of the legacies you can leave for generations after you. So when I say generations after you, I probably have taken it beyond the brief of just your parents. If you are a parent, yes, you owe the next generation role modeling and making it right. If you are an educator, and under educator, I'm going to classify to every kind of teacher, whether you teach in church or you teach in school or you teach anywhere, you have the opportunity to be a trainer, an educator, a teacher, a facilitator, just name it. Whatever gives you that privilege to stand before people and makes them listen to you is that opportunity that you also have to role model. In one of the shows, I told the story of my English teacher in Victory High School and how that I saw her display open affection for her children. It was not a thing in my family growing up, but that pushed something into me to see that it's actually something that you should, could, or may want to do. I'm glad to have seen that picture. She was not acting up and she was not trying to do it for us to see. They were just living their lives as mom and children, but they were passing a message across without knowing. So this is so important. I am mentioning where or people that can be role models. It means that our pastors are literally role models. It means that our fellowship leaders are literally role models. It means that the class captain is a role model. Because with every leadership role that you have to perform, you are modeling a pattern. So, but whether you have um, a position or not, our ideology is that everyone is a leader, whether you are above, whether you are below, or whether you are in the middle. You can lead across board. John C. Maxwell calls it the 360-degree leader in his book. So the point here is that parents are role models, even though my emphasis have been around parents, but I did say on the first day, I wasn't going to limit it to parents alone. So parents are a typical role model. Educators, and I've tried to explain the frame of educators I'm talking about, they are a kind of role model. Then number three, and these people, they became very, very popular. May I say that for this 21st century, they call them influencers. Influencers, influencers, influencers. And I saw one billboard one day. On my way to Lekki, the billboard says influencer or influenza. You know, influenza is a kind of health condition, while influencer is someone who influences you. Role models are typical influencers, not influencer now. They are typical influencers because they get into your head. If someone influences in fashion, so the fashion industry influencer, he kind of blaze the trail, sets agenda, sets the tone for what will trend or what people will look out for. So when you're wearing the kind of thing that is in vogue as announced by them or as modeled by them, something gives you a feeling that I am updated. Role models are influencers, and that's huge. Influencers are role models. V's are V. So whatever thing puts you out there, whether it's success, whether it's prosperity, whatever makes people want to listen to you, sometimes it's our gift and our talents. Our gifts can be the reason why we have become influencers. Our money can be the reason why we become influencers, because people listen to the rich. I mean, it's just, even in the Bible, is there. Okay? And it could also be a position where you found yourself, or maybe your personality. Some people are so charismatic. People love to follow them, people love to listen to them. Whatever brings you into that space of an influencer makes you a literal role model. Question will now be, what are you consciously role modeling? And are you aware that whether you are conscious of it or not, you are role modeling all the same? Are you aware? So I'm going to encourage you today to be an intentional role model. Be intentional about what you want people to pick from you. Be intentional about how you want people to see life because of you. Every role model has got lenses with which they view life. And the way they view life influences the way those who follow them or buy into their modeling will do so. It's very important to choose to be a good role model, a great icon, a positive pattern, and all of those beautiful synonyms that I shared with us, that I've shared with us for 2 weeks already, that could be the same words describing a role model. So what are some of the ways you can teach people things without knowing? Remember, I did say that they are like legacies. So people can learn things from you and they can stay with them for life. They can stay with them for life. If you look closely as an adult, you find out that you have learned some things from your parents without them having to teach it. So what are a few of those things? Let's look at marriage. Our parents' marriages are the first kind of marriages that a lot of us get to see, because we lived with them and were giving birth to. So would you like to have the kind of marriage that your parents have? That would tell me how well or how badly they have done their role modeling work. They may not have been aware they taught you anything. They may not have been aware that you are being deterred from certain things because of them. Because there are two straight things we can learn in life: how to do things, how not to do it. So you have either learned from your parents how to be a family person, husband or wife or parent, or you have learned how not to do it. So in the record of the life of your parents would be the list of items they taught you without knowing. Whether they are positive or negative is a matter for another day. So you are listening to me right now, and you're probably still a young person, you're not married yet. It therefore means that you must be intentional about the kind of parenting pattern, or what do you call it again? Either parenting pattern or any kind of family life pattern that you want to create for your children to emulate. If you forget anything about role modeling, don't forget that it is what is called the ideal pattern that should be emulated or replicated. And one of the biggest words that goes with role modeling is examples, examples, examples. So this is very important. If we all decide to do role modeling right, we will have a better community. We'll have better societies. Let's talk about driving. And I said I was going to say a little more about driving today. How do you drive? Do you do the swerve, 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 and your boy is usually in the car? Someday your boy is just going to imagine that I can't wait to handle the steering. I'm going to do it the way daddy does it. Or he even does it a lot more fiercely. You know, if he acts like a Formula 9 driver. Meanwhile, this is their life. This is not a game. So it's important to role model driving correctly. Part of the things you can do in role modeling driving correctly is to obey highway codes. But do you know them? Do you know whether you should give room to traffic that is coming from your left or from your right? Do you know whether you should reverse into the expressway from your house or not? Do you know when to allow your horn to sound and when it shouldn't? Or some people use their horn as a toy. They use it to make music as they are driving. Pam, 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 pam. You know, like those days when we had plenty Molue, the 911 in Lagos. They did that thing a lot. But there are individuals who are not commercial drivers who do that. What about shunting and jumping a queue? There's a traffic and slow down and people are going gradually, and your child has noticed that you always come out from behind and do an overtaking that is always very risky and meaningless. All of that, as the young people around you, they may not even be your children, but the young people around you watch you, you are ingraining certain things into their subconscious. They will need to be very intentional about their lives, not to become automatic replicants of those things. So this is very important, and I hope that I've been able to teach you a few things. The basic things I've said today is that you should be intentional about role modeling. Don't do it hoping that everything works without anyone pushing. In role modeling, it's important for you to be intentional. What do I want people to learn? Another reason why people don't do things intentionally is because it puts you in a state of accountability and you find yourself being responsible to people or to the way things should be done. But if you really want to make the difference that the world believes you can and God Himself believes you can, then you are not going to be toying with the opportunity to role model. No matter where you find yourself, as long as there are people behind you watching you, you are a role model. So you could be an elder sibling to your younger sibling. You are a role model. We talked about praying mothers who influence their children to pray. That's role modeling. When you role model something properly, communicating about them is just a second, it's an addition. It's an addition, and then the thing is able to sink more. What about dressing? Do you tilt towards indecent dressing or prim and proper? What's your pattern you are role modeling? So to things that are very, very personal to you, that you feel that, look, it's me, it's my life. I'm living my life. I don't owe anybody any excuses. Well, in you thinking that you don't owe anybody excuses, you're actually creating more versions of you. So if the world is filled with the version of you, how chaotic will the world be? Deep questions. I'm going to leave that with you. Think of you as the person that you are. If the entire world had to, if you had an opportunity for the entire world to be full of people that are exactly like you, how well arranged? I mean, for some people, the world will be too arranged. Some people it will be too chaotic. Some people it will be too scattered. How will it be? That can give you a clear-cut understanding of what I'm saying about the power of role modeling. I truly hope that you will leave this show today doing it better. Doing it better. Expand your character, and you know that on this show, we encourage ourselves to do well. We encourage ourselves to do better. This week alone, I came across so many people who were service providers who acted like they had no understanding at all about who they are supposed to be and what they are supposed to be doing. For people like that, they get rewarded by not getting a second patronage. And you do enough of that and you're out of business. National Character Parenting Summit comes up on August 3rd and it's the 10th edition. In that room, we are going to be calling on people to share their own stories of role modeling. We'll have a unique family feature interview. Then we'll have the discussants around the couch. Then we'll have the intervention desk from the educators who will help us make sense of how it's feeling at the education end. I'm hoping that we can also have a live studio this year, as well as we are streaming live. We're going to be streaming everything live from A to Z. So just wherever you are in this world, as long as you're on this planet, you're going to have an opportunity to join us. It will be starting at 10. And so if you're not in a region of the world that favors it, you might just have to wake up early and come and sit up around it. It's a Saturday, but I'm sure it's going to be worth all of every time that you spend. The National Character Parenting Summit is committed to nation building. Nation building by looking at very germane issues year in, year out. And I'm very excited that with the team of volunteers and co-sponsors, we have done this for 9 years. And this year, August 3rd, is going to be the 10th edition. I will always look forward to hugging you as you walk into the hall. If you're coming in person, take pictures with you and then watch every one of us become better. I'm super excited about the many young people who have been part of this project who are now raising their families. Honestly, I can't expect less from them. I expect them to do brilliantly well, God being their help, because of the amount of resources that have been available at their disposal. This is going to be the show for today, and when I meet you next week, I will tell you another part of role modeling that you need to know. And by that time, we'll be coasting home towards May 27th, which is going to be the Children's Day. Let's celebrate the children by showing them the right way, by teaching them the right things, and by projecting and modeling the right things. If we say we love them and dedicate a day to them internationally, we should do much more than that on an everyday basis. This is our commitment at RCD to nation building, and we do hope that this continues across board. Thank you so very much. It's time to say my goodbyes now, and I'm hoping that by God's grace, we're together again next Friday. But it's going to be back at 5 p.m. Remember, I had to do it earlier today because there's a program coming up at about the time of 5 that will not allow us have it. So I felt that rather than miss it, let's have it earlier. So if you're catching up with it because of the change in time, enjoy it and stay blessed. Bye now. And like I said jokingly, my music follows you all the way. Bye. Enjoy your weekend. God bless you.